Hi, this is Rich Coles from Prodactive Project Solutions. The purpose of this video is to provide an overview of a Smartsheet setup for project and portfolio management using the core platform without any advanced applications. This is aimed at organisations managing a smaller portfolio of projects each year, say up to 15, whereas for organisations with a higher volume, we recommend the Smartsheet Control Center that automates the whole process and provides a number of key benefits that I cover in a separate video. So, Smartsheet provides a template set in its Solution Center, and that comes with a timeline and a budget, and that's the basis to get started. So let's just have a look. You go into the Solution Center and you can see here I can click and there's a project management office, and again I can click onto that and learn more, and it takes me through into getting the information and downloading the template set. And what you'll see is as it comes up on the screen, it's got full instructions on how to do this bit as you go through and how it all works. That's available within. Now, within this, it's got a timeline and a budget report, and so it's a fairly simple starter pack to get going. Now, I tend to use a slightly more advanced one given my background in project program management. So I'm going to go back into my portfolio area, but mine is built on the same principles as this because that's how Smartsheet works. So what have I got in my setup here? So what I'm going to show you firstly is I've got a portfolio setup, and within that I've got a portfolio summary dashboard, which is again one of the key attributes of Smartsheet, where you can visualize really clearly the key information you want to share and you want key stakeholders to share within a project. So here got the stats on the projects and the budget, again a view across key metrics. And then you can go down below and see project summary overview, budget, milestones, risks and issues, change requests in that case. So just coming back up, within that piece, I've also got a portfolio sheet, which we'll go into in a moment, and then a series of reports that provide that information into the dashboard. So if I go into the portfolio sheet here, in this portfolio sheet, this is kind of the engine where I've got a list of all the items, and then these are fed through from projects and then feed onto the dashboard on that side. So going back onto the overview here, in the projects folder, this is where all my projects go. And you can see I've all called them Project Anchor, Better Way, Charlie. So, and I've also got then here a template project, which I copy for each new one. So what I'm going to do is I'll copy that in a second, but first I'm just going to show you. Now, don't be alarmed on the number of items in here. Depending on your methodology in your PMO, you might have only a couple of items, you might have all of these items. And again, this is for the different types of PMOs, what level of detail they need to go down here. So the ones I've got numbered are the ones which I think are key for any project that I'd be involved in. So a dashboard, time plan, a RAID log, so risks, assumptions, issues, and dependencies, although sometimes it's called actions and decisions on the RAID log, summary status updates, and team contacts. So these are the core items I'd always have. Now, depending on if you're using RAID for actions, then you don't need the actions log, but clearly on a project, it's always good to have an actions log, changes, decisions, learnings, and a charter as well. So these are items you can have. If you don't need them, you don't use them, you can delete them, etc. So the joy with Smartsheet is it's customizable as you need it to be. So I have these. If I don't want them, I get rid of them. Now, going to the whatever else I've got here is I've got budget, and I've got a summary sheet, and I've got a detailed tracker for the budget as well. So just going back to the template project set, let's just have a quick look at the dashboard for a moment. And again, this is a fairly standard setup which I've got for used in many organizations. Again, what it's got is the project, key information about it, and then summary status update, escalations, recent achievements, and key next steps. Then you've got budget information, timings, progress, and key information about the project, etc. Now, what you'll notice here is various things are showing as project, project manager, sponsor. This is to indicate this is the template, and wherever I indicate with the with these brackets, the less than and greater than signs, that's to say that this is where data that needs to come in. And again, some items are showing as not working because they're waiting for proper information to come through as it stands. So going back to the list, you'll notice then also each of the items I've listed here saying with those same brackets to indicate that they need to be named as you go in. So one of the key things here with a template set is you want to make sure that each of your assets have the name of the project so you can differentiate them when they're pulled into reports, so you can see what's the name of the sheet you're looking at. And again, it just means for when you're searching for items, as opposed to it being a project plan and another project plan and another project plan, you can actually see what it is that you're looking at on that side. So this is my template set. Now to create a new one, I am simply going to right click and I'm going to save as new, and I'm going to call this project, Delta Drive. Okay, and I'm just going to decide where to save it. Now it's automatically putting it in the same place, but I'm going to put it in the projects folder down below. So I've got project anchor, and here we go, Delta Drive. So if I now save that, it's now going to create all those assets in a new folder. So just wait for that to finish. So now if I open up here, you'll see project Delta Drive has been created, and let's just have a look at the difference here between this one. You can see if I click on Delta Drive, it's exactly the same, but the name is different. So this goes back to the point I was just making of if you don't change the name of the assets below, then it's going to be incredibly hard to differentiate them later on when you go through here. So to change them, it's very simple, and all you need to do is you go into here and again, Delta Drive, and again, what I can do is I can copy that information, and if I click away, it's saved. And so just to explain, the reason why I put numbers in front of some of these is for the sorting. You'll notice that because I've got these brackets here, this is at the top, but if I now change actions log and I change that piece to be Delta Drive, you'll notice that this then goes to the bottom of the list here. So again, this is the way that I always can have it so that the dashboard appears on the top here. So let's just dive in and do a couple more here. So the time plan, again, let me just change the name of the time plan. And then that has been set, and come back out, save. Okay, so just the next things really to go through here is how do you get them to connect, and what are the challenges between the Control Center, which does all this automatically for you, versus having to do this manually. So let's go in and have a look here. So I've created a new project, but at the moment, none of that information will roll up onto the portfolio dashboard because I haven't pointed it in the right direction. So I'm going to go to the portfolio, and on the dashboard, as you can see at the moment, it's got 4 projects and it hasn't got the latest project which I've created. So I'm going to go into my portfolio sheet, and within here, I'm now going to create the new project called Delta Drive, as you saw, and if I press save, it's going to automatically give it a number here. Now, in terms of this, I could create the project using the form, and if I go to manage forms, for example, I can open it up, and again, new project request, we could open that form and fill it out in this way, which could be a standard way of getting people to submit for new projects. In this case, I'm just going to fill it out directly into the sheet. So Delta Drive, and what category is Delta Drive? So this is I'm going to put this as expand, and this is demo of Smartsheet PMO set. For example, and quick objectives is provide a demo. Okay, target start date, I'm going to put today's start date, and it's going to automatically assume 100 days. I can change that if I want to. And then who am I going to assign it to? I'm going to assign this to Demo Prodactive, and I'm going to set Rich Coles as the sponsor on this bit, and we're going to mark this as approved. And then from a budget perspective, I'm going to say £5,000 on this. So this information is key because this is now going to go through to the project sheet. And in the portfolio sheet there, you'll notice that all this information here, which is needed onto the dashboard, isn't coming through. So we need to link that up. So how to do that? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go through to the projects. And if I go to refresh this view here, so project Delta Drive, it should appear now. And Delta Drive is here. And if I go into the project metadata sheet into here. At the moment it's pulling through project, the first one on that list, and if I now change it to be number 5, you'll see it immediately pulls through the information. This is because this has got an index match formula showing in there, and that's how this information is linked. And again, if you copy the PMO toolset, then from the Smartsheet Solution Center, it will be set up so that you can copy these and then build out further as needed. So that information has been pulled through. So now it knows if I was to put in a different code and the one for a different project, just to show you, you can see it's picking up all those projects there. So the coding is incredibly important on this bit to get it right, because you want clearly the right information to coming through for your project there. So the project will now pull this information through, and this feeds other places. And to get this information from the project, you can see by having put in the cost, it's got the budget, and the budget is coming through automatically to the sheet here, and this information is coming through. So what I want to do now is get the information from the project back onto the portfolio. So what I'm going to do is connect this information, and I need to link it from the other sheet. So I'm now going to link to cell from another sheet. I'm going to then find the portfolio sheet, and if I go to the portfolio, I'm looking for the portfolio sheet here, and in fact I'm looking in the wrong place. I need to find project Delta Drive, and I'm looking for this one, the project metadata, and here we go. So as this comes up, I'm now going to find all the information which I want to pull through onto the portfolio sheet, and I've selected that information, create the link, and you'll see that information is now pulled through automatically from the sheet here, and it's got the information pulling through. And again, so you can see which ones have I filled out and which ones haven't I filled out thus far on that side. So save the sheet, and what you'll now start seeing coming through onto the portfolio dashboard is if I refresh that now, so there are 4 projects. This should now be updated to say there's 5 projects coming through, 2 are in progress, 3 not started, and then you've got the various categorization of the projects there. So when the project is set up in your initial sheet, so this is now set up, I can then go through the process of various other things I need to do on the project, such as, so if I go to the dashboard here, you can see information is not showing through. I can now go and update the status and these various items here. So the way I have it set up on my projects is I have a summary status sheet. Again, you'll see I haven't named that yet, so I'm just going to give that its name, Delta Drive, and I'm going to put the RAG status here is going to be green because we just started. I'm going to update it today. Project stage, I'll just put in that information as diagnose, and I'm just going to add this in demo status, just so you can see how that works. So if I come back out of that, go to the dashboard, and you'll see demo status has gone in. The RAG status should have pulled through. So let me just see why that is not pulling through. The RAG status has now pulled through, and you can see it's just been updated here as well. So, and the budget information I put on the master sheet of the portfolio has pulled through. All that information is pulling through accordingly. So the other thing just to be really aware of is when you're creating projects manually. Now for the portfolio, the reports come through, and you can see Delta Drive is automatically pulling through onto the project summary overview. This is because this information is being pulled from that portfolio sheet, which I showed you at the beginning. Again, that's why it's really useful. One of the things you have to be aware of though is for things that are not pulled from a single sheet, but from multiple sheets. So let's just go to, for example, the key portfolio risks. In here, what I need to make sure is that all the sheets for this portfolio view are being pulled through accordingly. So because I've added a new project, I need to make sure that's being pulled in. I can do this in 2 ways. I can either go and find the individual items in terms of the risk log, or I can just select the folder, and what you can see is it's finding every sheet in that folder, and it will then pull back through risks on that side. So at the moment there's only 1 risk that's showing up in there, but again, really importantly, every time you add a new project, you need to make sure the reports are pulling through, and if they're not pulling through automatically onto a report, then you'll have to manually go in and make those changes to it. But again, as a little view, you can start seeing that key milestones, these are pulling through from other projects. So this is pulled through from the various sheets here, but that's got 39 sheets. So to make sure the projects are coming through, again, I'm just going to click on here and click again, and that's gone up to 52 because again, I've created, and you can see Delta Drive has now come through, and within the time plan, Delta Drive is there, and this is showing as not started. So if I now mark this as 100% complete, you can see the project is now showing as being in progress. So there's a view just to show you in terms of how you can have a portfolio dashboard which is running and using all the assets which are connected together from Smartsheet, and using your template set you can build out from the PMO template set provided in the Solution Center by Smartsheet. Equally, again, I would build out these, or if you want some support from to build a solution which is again more advanced such as this, please do get in touch. So my name is Rich Coles from Prodactive Project Solutions. I trust this has been useful, and more videos on project and program management to follow. Many thanks.